The Belgian government has declared maximum alert after multiple explosions ripped through the international airport and several metro stations in capital Brussels. 2 explosions rocked the Zaventem airport early on Tuesday morning Europe time. Reports say at least 2 explosions were carried out by the attackers on a suicide mission. The blasts ripped through the departure terminal building, shattering glass windows in the ceiling. Belgian media reports say at least 21 people have been killed and 35 injured. The blast come 4 days after Paris attack suspect Salah Abdussalam was captured from Brussels. Abdussalam is the main suspect in November's Paris terror attacks that left 130 people dead, and the Belgian police had been on high alert since his dramatic arrest. The airport has been evacuated. Flights to and from the airport have been cancelled. Rail traffic has been suspended following those attacks on 3 metro stations. The European Union is under an unprecedented lockdown with the serial blasts in Brussels. Thousands of passengers have been stranded after the Brussels airport cancelled flight operations. Editorial Director Television Kali Puri reports live from Berlin.
I'm here in Berlin, in the capital city of Germany, and like most other cities in Europe, this city is also under high alert. Here I've spoken to a few people who are from Brussels and were planning to travel back today to give you a sense of what is going on in a European city.
She was about to travel, and there were explosions right in front of her eyes, but unfortunately it was quite far, so she wasn't hurt, so that's good. And then they evacuated them through buses to some safe house, but unfortunately I don't have the exact details about that.
Hi Max, you're based in Brussels. Could you tell me a little bit about how you're planning to get home?
Yeah, well, I will probably take the train tomorrow back to Brussels, as planes are uncertain at the moment how they will travel back to Belgium. It seems that most of the airports are closed at the moment, and we have to look into this afternoon, how to bring the team safely back to our headquarters.
And we're getting in fresh visuals from Brussels, a complete lockdown in the capital of Belgium. We're also being told that all flights to and from the airport have been cancelled. The metro services have also been cancelled after multiple explosions were reported. All passengers have been asked to leave the airport building. Airport has been evacuated. We also saw pictures of hundreds of passengers standing at the tarmac. We also spoke to singer Abhijit, who told us that his family is also there, stuck in Brussels. They were expected to fly to New York, had a connecting flight from Brussels, and they too are on the tarmac. In fact, we're also getting tweets from Bollywood actor turned Aam Aadmi Party politician Gul Panak saying her husband was part of the Jet Airways crew, the flight that landed in Brussels shortly or minutes before that blast. She tweeted saying that she tweeted saying that the passengers and the crew members are safe, but they're not being allowed to deboard from the plane. We've been speaking to senior journalists who've been getting us a sense of things as they're playing out on the ground. Let's take a look at some of those updates.
Yes, I'm hearing the same report, although everything is still unfolding as we speak. As you can probably hear, I'm in the airport at the moment. I'm not in the main airport where the explosion took place, as my flight was diverted to land in the safer Liège airport outside of Brussels. The reports I'm also...
Abhijit there sharing the plight of his family stuck in Brussels. Pictures on your screens of the Molenbeek metro station. The blast completely ripping through the metro carriages. About 3 metro stations were targeted. We still don't know how many explosions took place there at the metro station. We also played out visuals of security men walking through the tunnel and trying to search for other explosives inside the tunnel. Complete lockdown in Belgium. Brussels witnessed a series of coordinated strikes this afternoon. We're getting an update from Vikas Swaroop from the Ministry of External Affairs. Let's cross live.
His first official visit to Brussels on 30th March 2016 for the 13th India-EU Summit at the invitation of the President of the European Council, Mr. Donald Tusk, and the President of the European Commission, Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker. The European Union is India's leading trade and investment partner and biggest export destination. India and EU are also strategic partners since 2004. The 13th India-EU Summit aims to deepen the India-EU strategic partnership and advance collaboration in priority areas for India's growth and development. The Prime Minister will also hold a bilateral summit meeting with Belgium at the invitation of the Belgian Prime Minister, Mr. Charles Michel. India and Belgium enjoy close and friendly ties. Belgium is India's second largest trade partner within the EU. The bilateral meeting between the two Prime Ministers will focus on further enhancing the economic partnership. The two Prime Ministers will also hold discussions on regional and global issues of mutual interest. From Brussels, Prime Minister will proceed to Washington, D.C. to participate in the Nuclear Security Summit. I will now give you details on that. The Prime Minister will attend the 4th Nuclear Security Summit on March 31st, April 1 at Washington, D.C. The first Nuclear Security Summit was held in Washington, D.C. in April 2010, followed by the summits in Seoul in March 2012 and The Hague in March 2013. 52 countries and 4 international organizations are expected to attend the 2016 summit. The Nuclear Security Summit process has been instrumental in galvanizing leaders-level attention on the global threat posed by nuclear terrorism and urgent measures required to prevent terrorists and other non-state actors from gaining access to sensitive nuclear materials and technologies. The 2016 summit is expected to take stock of the progress of implementation of the previous NSS communiques work plan, as also outline an agenda for the future. As per past summits, a number of countries may project the respective steps taken by them to strengthen nuclear security since the last summit, including in the form of submissions of national progress reports. India shall also be submitting its national progress report, which will be made public at the summit. India has contributed constructively during the NSS preparatory meetings in 2014 to 16 at the level of Sherpas. Prime Minister will be making some specific announcements and proposals with regard to nuclear security during his interventions at the NSS. These will also be made public in due course. The program of the summit begins with an opening dinner for the leaders on March 31. The thematic discussions during the dinner would be on nuclear security threat perceptions. Thereafter, the thematic discussion during the morning and the afternoon sessions of April 1 would be on national actions to enhance national security, followed by international and institutional actions to strengthen nuclear security. As at the Hague Summit, the concluding session shall be a scenario-based policy discussion. The summit is expected to close on the evening of April 1.
All right, let's get now from our Deputy Editor Smita Sharma, who's with us live from our newsroom. Smita, the Prime Minister's visit to Brussels, no change in plans for that. He's expected to travel to Brussels on the 30th.
Absolutely. You know, the European Union ambassador to India currently, in fact, is in Brussels finalizing the entire summit meeting, which is to take place on 29th and 30th of March in Brussels. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a short while ago, remember, had taken to Twitter and he tweeted saying that news from Brussels is disturbing. The attacks are condemnable. Condolences to families of the deceased. May those injured recover quickly. So clearly, India standing by Brussels in this hour of distress and trauma, and that is a way of expressing solidarity with no change as far as the India-EU summit is concerned, which is already running late by almost 2 years because this is a postponed summit meeting that we are looking at. There had been some, in fact, differences over certain contentious issues, but Narendra Modi will be proceeding to Brussels to attend this summit, which is something that the MEA spokesperson Vikas Swarup has now made it official.
All right, no change in plans for the Prime Minister's visit. Smita, thanks so much for that update. There's more breaking news coming in. Jet Airways has issued a statement confirming 2 crew members have been injured. Jet Airways also says all guests and ground staff have been taken to safety. Smita Sharma is still with us. We'll go back to her in just a bit. Remember, Gul Panag, whose husband is also a pilot, had tweeted a short while back saying that his flight had landed in Brussels minutes before those explosions were reported, and she had said that everyone is safe but the crew members and passengers are not being allowed to deboard. Smita, I believe, is now back with us. Smita, an update from Jet Airlines saying that two staffers have been injured in that, but not sure how they were injured and what's the nature of the injury.
Well, yes, and Sushma Swaraj, in fact, mentioning that one of them is an Indian, so perhaps the other staffer might not be an Indian, could be a foreign national or somebody, from Brussels itself. But they are being treated at the hospital. What we are also being told is that the Jet Airways office is now moved to a sort of a safe location at the Brussels airport area. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. Several Indians, including some celebrities, they have their families, in fact, stranded there, from singer Abhijit to actor turned politician Gul Panag as well, whose families are supposedly stranded there, because remember, Brussels is also used as a large transit point, really. So a lot of these people who were traveling there, not necessarily holding the Schengen visa that allows free movement within Europe, but also a visa that is undergoing a lot of transformation itself. Jet Airways, meanwhile, has also cancelled of those flights that were supposed to fly to Brussels from Toronto and Newark, as well as from New Delhi and Mumbai on 22nd and 23rd of March. It has put out a statement saying that it will reschedule, of course, these flights and adjust tickets later on. American Airlines also issued a statement saying that all of their, in fact, staff members and employees are accounted for, because remember, it was close to the American Airlines in the departure hall counter where one of the explosions was witnessed at the Brussels airport this morning.
Right, and Smita, why is it that passengers are being asked to move towards the tarmac? Of course, a lot of them are not allowed to leave the airport because they don't have a Schengen visa.
Because if you look at the operations, clearly what we were being told is passengers, in fact, they were asked to take only their passport and leave their bags, because you don't know if somebody's actually managed to put in some explosives, in fact, something could detonate off. They don't know which of these passengers might just be involved with terror groups. So to make sure, this sort of segregation is happening there, you leave your bags and you head to the tarmac, so you're in a line of visibility is clear, and they can have, in fact, much safer evacuations if needed, or safer operations, because in all of these operations it's very, very important to make sure that civilian casualties are in fact minimized. Though at the Brussels airport, really, while there were suicide bombings that took place that have now been confirmed, but there were no gunmen at large. That is always another fear, in fact, which people face under terror situations. What I'm picking up from social media right now, Simi, is that apparently sounds of fresh explosions have also been heard, but they seem to be, in fact, controlled blasts by bomb squad of suspicious packages. So it's still on the edge, it's still jittery, and a situation far from under control in Brussels.
All right, Smita, stay on with us. We're getting in a reaction from the Interior Minister of Belgium. Let's cross live.
After Salah Abdeslam detention and after the consultation we had within Interpol, I said on Saturday evening that our logistics have been increased. Besides, this morning, as soon as we learned about Brussels attacks, I decided to deploy the 1,600 policemen in several points of our territory, on the frontiers, but also inside transportation infrastructure, whether it be train, airplane or road. I insist towards our prefect to take all disposal to reinforce again a little more security in train stations, public transportations, airports and ports, especially in the region of Paris, where the police prefect, under my instruction, already deployed 400 policemen and gendarmes, especially in the airports of Roissy and Orly, in metro, in train stations, public spaces and reserved spaces.
All right, and we spoke to Lisa Bryant, a journalist who's with us live on the phone line. She's getting us updates on the ground. Lisa, there are also reports of fresh explosions in Brussels. Is that correct? Can you confirm that for us?
No, I can't confirm that. We're still waiting for more news, but there definitely seems to have been an uptick in the death toll. with Belgium News reporting now that there are probably at least 26 dead. So it's a moving scenario.
All right, the situation is rapidly changing. There's lots of security on the ground. Lisa, can you tell us what's the kind of security presence that we'll be seeing on the roads in Belgium today, considering that there's a high-level lockdown that's been declared?
Yes, apparently, I mean, the government has told people to stay at home, not to go out. The metros are closed, the trains are closed. It's going to be interesting to see what the border situation is like in terms of travel from France to Belgium, including for reporters that are doing it. The people who have been outside, obviously being journalists, are reporting, especially around the Melbeek metro, where the initial explosion was, and that's near the European Union institutions. Scenes of panic, people coming out burned with wounds, and so yes, there's been calls for people to stay at home, but obviously people have already been out even before the explosions, because it was rush hour after all.
Lisa, thanks so much for that update. We're going to keep coming back to you for more developments. Lisa Byron there reporting from Paris about the latest situation. She also managed to get us a reaction from people who witnessed those explosions at the airport. We've also been playing out reactions from other government dignitaries. The French Interior Minister also talking about how France has increased security and new arrangements should be made to increase special security in EU following these terror attacks, first in Paris and now in Brussels.
To Pakistan's Shahid Afridi, Pakistan captain Shahid Afridi.
Shahid, just about New Zealand, how much have you been surprised at the way they've gone about their business? What do you see as